So our special guest is Warren. Warren is part of, well, he ain't part of, he is Bushveld Reptiles. And Warren is from South Africa. You'll soon hear his accent when he starts to speak. So Warren has been, I don't know, a couple of years we've been friends, I guess.
Sure.
Great guy, super intense animals. He's got a lot of stuff that you don't see a lot of. And this is an example of an animal that you don't see very much of. And if you do see it, a lot of times they're wild caughts.
That's true.
So this is a African house snake, which Warren grew up catching in his yard pretty much. So I'm going to let him give y'all a spiel on what a house snake is, where it comes from, you know, or at least some of the localities that it comes from. And then his collection is basically right here behind us, and you're going to get to see some really cool house snakes. And I'm looking forward to taking one of these home too. So
for sure. I think you're taking this one home, aren't
you?
Okay, so as Tony said, I grew up in South Africa, and this was the common species of snake that I did find around my house.
Like who would have a rat snake?
Sure.
They would just find house snakes.
And this was a really sought after species to get as a pet. They're really well suited to captivity, excellent nature, they feed well, and nowadays they come in a range of different color variations. They are known as the Cape house snake, but commonly we used to call them the brown house snake. As you can see, there's a typical brown coloration. They can be varying shades, darker, lighter. But house snakes typically have this creamy white stripe from behind their eye, and they've got a vertical pupil. And if you look at that head, that is one of the most python-like heads you'll find in any snake that isn't a python. And that's another thing that really is attractive.
It's like a little berm.
Exactly. And then there's varying degrees of pattern. As you can see, this is quite an interesting striped variety. We do have some with a more granite pattern or blotched, like a zebra, not a zebra, a giraffe's pattern. So there's so much variety in house snakes, and well, we're really excited to be bringing them to the market.
So house snakes have been, you know, around since the dawn of time, obviously, but they've been in the reptile industry for a long time as well, but there hasn't been a lot of work with them.
That's true. And typically a lot of the house snakes that you'd see previously coming into America don't come from South Africa. They're not the Cape house snake.
Okay.
There are other species of house snake that are found elsewhere in Africa, and some of them don't typically do as well as Cape house snakes. And because they're wild collected, they have all the associated problems, as you know, wild snakes do have. So we only deal in the captive bred and focusing primarily with the Cape house snakes. As you can see, excellent captives, they handle very well, and it's just the perfect package in a snake.
Yep. So again, they eat great, they look really cool, this is an adult female.
Yeah, this is an adult female.
Proven.
This one lays eggs, yeah.
So they're very manageable in size. I think this is a great animal for most anybody that's into reptiles.
Sure. And they do well on a diet primarily of rodents. They'll eat frozen thawed with no trouble. So those are all positive things.
Yeah, I think it's a great animal for the hobby in general. Now, because I've spent hours looking at all these cool morphs that they have involving these, I do think that there's going to be a lot of interest in the African house snakes when some of these newer morphs hit the market. So
definitely. Should I show you some of the fancier ones?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, moving away from the typical standard brown house snake or brown Cape house snake, we're going into the T-negative albino.
Albino for American people.
Okay, that's the way we say it, albino. So straight away you can see this is an orange snake, much different color. It's got that albino color. And then if you look at the pupils, problem is they dilate in the light, or they get smaller in the light, but these have got red pupils.
Really cool.
But really looks stunning in the albino.
And these are still very uncommon, but you can find T positives.
They are popping up more and more nowadays. There's people who have them and are working with them, so they are out there.
Cool.
But
let me hold this one and
sure.
grab the other.
Okay, so I'm gonna get a comparison.
Y'all check this out. This is insane.
That's the T negative albino. This right here is a T positive. Now there's a couple other special things about this particular T positive, but comparing the pupils, this one's got much darker pupils. You can see that's like a ruby red pupil. This is a dark pupil. And of course this one's much more orange compared to yellow. And that actually
that's insane.
the reason for that is because this is also a locality house snake. So it's a T positive albino as well as a KZN red locality. Now KZN is an area in South Africa called KwaZulu-Natal where you get very red looking house snakes. So what we've done is we've crossed the T positive albino into the reddest looking locality house snakes to come up with this beautiful result.
And you'll also see KZN in American terms. That's what you'll see when you're talking about the locality is KZN. And also, while we're on this subject, just because the animal is listed as a KZN house snake does not mean that it's exactly the best quality or best representation of that red. So just be leery of
there's definitely
the locality stuff.
There's
that
definitely
you see.
degrees in it, and also depends greatly on how much percentage was bred into the combination to begin with.
Yeah, and I don't know what these prices are, but just because an animal is cheaper doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a really nice example of that.
No,
So just keep that in mind.
For sure. There's also a lot of line breeding in here too. You see we've been selecting them for having high pattern. So this is a very nice pattern specimen.
That's a really nice house snake. And a lot of people say that house snakes are just brown snakes and you don't have pattern and stuff on them.
Not anymore.
That's, I mean, even that normal that we just showed off has some pretty cool pattern to me.
Really cool pattern. There's so much natural variability in these. So there's so many different directions you could take them, for breeding projects. It's just possibilities endless.
Yeah. So let's do another color palette because these things go on all spectrums.
Now look at this. This is a little bit tinier, but very different color palettes. We have the T negative, the T positive, and this is a hypomenelistic hypo, or sometimes called ghost, but that's a hypo house snake.
Awesome. Y'all know me. I love my hypo stuff. Warren does too. Warren has ball pythons.
Definitely, that's my favorite. Now we've also done the crosses with albinos and hypos to make sun glows, which is also another interesting combination. That was active guys.
They're pair of jumpers.
Something like that.
They don't like the.
They can be more wiggly as they're small, but
I was fixing to say that the smaller house snakes do tend to be quite wiggly. So just keep that in mind if this is a snake that you're interested in. But you can tell. We've held several adults or sub-adults, and they calm down.
Yeah, I mean, like all little snakes, these have got so many predators. I mean, they do live in some pretty dangerous environments with all sorts of other animals who'll make a meal of a little snake. So
awesome.
They're not sure.
See how many house snakes I can fit in one hand.
Okay, this next one is something really special and very different to everything else.
So crazy.
Look at that color. Now, besides just the obvious difference in color, this is almost a mauve going towards purple color. Look at those eyes. These were thought to be a type of blue-eyed leucistic. We've named them the blue-eyed house snake for obvious reasons.
But they're not leucistic.
You know, no one's done any real genetic testing to find out. I mean, we don't even know this is actually albinism.
Right.
I mean, we suspect so, according to everything else that we've seen in herpetoculture before. But
And so this is much different than it is with the balls, because ball pythons, you know, they've been around for so many years and people breeding them and stuff that a lot of this stuff we know about ball pythons because we've been doing it for 30 years.
Sure.
But all of this is really...
These are still in their infancy as a
right.
species goes. They're
Still
just getting
so
introduced to herpetoculture.
This is
But
insane.
look at that eye. Those eyes. I mean, there's nothing else like it.
All right, so before we show the black, because I personally love the black, let's get the one we were talking about, the green.
So in the interest of adding another color to the palette over here.
God, I love this snake. Look.
Look at that. That's something special. Now this is an interesting snake because it is it's a mutation as well as a locality, and it's also a hybrid. Now I mentioned that house snakes are found in southern Africa, in South Africa, the Cape house snake, but there are other species found in the rest of Africa, and this one is from a locality that is very green.
No kidding.
But it's not as green as it might be because we have taken
hypo.
a hypo, and we have crossed the hypo into the green. So it's really made the green more translucent, and add this ghostly tinge over the green, which is really impressive. So this is definitely a favorite.
Yeah, I love this snake.
So that is a hypo green house snake.
I don't know where I'm gonna get some green house snakes from, but I'm gonna have some at some point.
Because these can also be line bred to make them even more green than this. And with everything, we are working constantly to intensify the colors and bring out the best examples that these mutations have.
So for those that think house snakes are just brown snakes,
not anymore.
How cool.
Okay, so just to show some of the opposite end of the scale, let's go as dark as we can go. And that's pretty much the blackest that you can find a house snake.
That's intense. So cool.
So this is another species of house snake, but from a locality where they are extremely black. You can see.
And you do see the black ones pretty often, but they're often wild caught, right?
That's the thing with house snakes. Traditionally, most of the house snakes that came into America were these black house snakes that come from West Africa, that are collected from the wild and come in with the associated problems and are not the best feeders and such.
Gotcha.
All of our founder stock was wild, and we have since been breeding them for generations in captivity, and they are a much better snake now.
Awesome. Love it.
What else can we put there? So this time, incorporating the, let me just get that little hypo, just holding on. The hypo and the blue eye together to make a hypo blue eye. That one over there.
That's really cool. Very pinkish, purplish, like
and it's got a different kind of shine. I don't know if the light's picking it up right here, as that's what they always say, but this is, I mean, there's a difference in the way these things glow. This is like a mother of pearl glowing back.
Yeah, it's like a mystic potion effect.
Exactly.
For the ball python people.
Mystic potion. Okay, what else can we add to this spaghetti bowl?
It's like Medusa here.
Okay, and then just to add a last quick one, to add a little bit more yellow, a little bit of sunshine to the palette. This is what we call a butter house snake. I have to pronounce it like an American, a butter. I say butter. Okay, butter house snake is a mix of a green and this is a T positive butter. Yeah, that's a T negative. Looking at red eyes. We've made them in both T negative and T positive, but it's basically a green albino.
How cool.
So similar to people who remember the old albino green Burmese pythons.
Yeah.
There we've made a green Burmese python version in a house snake.
It's just a miniature one.
There you go.
Super miniature one. There it is.
I'm telling you, you look really happy with that pile of house snakes in your hand.
All right.
You know you have
See
to
y'all.
you know you have to give these back.
Oh, so cool. Warren has some house snakes available. I'd say maybe 500, 600. I don't have any here. Warren has a bunch of house snakes that are available, and he is supposed to be working on putting them on Morph Market, but we've been playing with snakes all day instead of working, so...
Yeah, I think since you've been here, I've got all of 3 photos done for Morph Market, so yeah, I've got my work cut out for me tomorrow.
Anyway, Warren has... So if this is something that you're interested in, obviously some of this stuff is not available to the market yet, but...
Especially a lot of the stuff in your hands, yeah.
Yeah, but some of it is, you know.
Sure.
You can get a butter. I mean, I don't know if you have any available, but it is something you probably would sell. Maybe.
I'll start you off on...
I have a butter now. I don't know.
Everyone wants
Actually, I didn't even know the butter existed. That was new when he pulled it out a while ago. I'm like,
it's funny how you
else.
can want something so much when you didn't know existed in the morning.
Right. But there are things on the market, like the T Positive, the Hypo. You know, there are things that you can get a collection go up and going.
Sure.
So
sure.
Really
and most
cool
of the stuff hasn't been seen before, so
yeah.
I mean, like even the most common mutations that have been out the longest, still amazing.
Yeah.
Look at that head. Look at those little white stripes.
Definitely.
What a head is that?
So.
And then there's the blue eye. Beautiful.
Well, we're fixing to wind it up.
Come back. Just talking to the snakes.
Oh.
Then come home.
No, I'm fixing to take these home.
This poor snake.
So we're going to wrap this up, and I'm gonna get rid of all these snakes in my hand because I don't think I've ever held that many snakes at once. But mainly Cassie's battery's dead because we've been here all day. So she's been taking pictures and videos and all that stuff. And
well, it's been a pleasure having you, Tony. Thanks for coming out and checking out all these awesome Cape house snakes.
I definitely am a fan. Want to take a few home. So. All right. So obviously we're back home. We had a fantastic trip. Before I ended this video out, I just wanted to personally thank Garrett and Warren for inviting us up and getting to dig through you know, an amazing collection of animals. You know, just absolutely insane at the stuff that Garrett and Warren have been working on for years and years and years, and you know, I'm excited to have been able to have the opportunity to go check them out. They are both solid guys. Totally recommend buying stuff from them, and obviously because I got a house snake. Truth is, I actually got more than one house snake, but that's another video. But I think these are amazing animals. We already know what I think about retics because I have some already. But yeah, so thank y'all again. Appreciate y'all tuning in and watching this videos, or this series of videos. I think was pretty much decided. This is a series of videos. So we got some ball pythons hatching, so it won't be long and y'all gonna start seeing a bunch of clutches hatching from us. So y'all stay tuned for that, and thank y'all again for the prayers and everything that's going on with us in our life. It really means a lot to have a good support system behind us. So see y'all soon.